Welcome into another Gun Talk Hunt. Today's Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by ATN because they know night vision and they don't care what you think. I mean, that's my best guess at what I think their slogan should be, because you know what? Those folks over there, they just do their job and they do it well. So today, I'm recounting with a very, very good friend of mine. Probably, I would even venture to say he is my best friend. But we're talking about a near-death experience. At least I'm going to call it a near-death experience. But I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. He is probably one of the guys that I would trust most to point me in the right direction when I hunt, and he's done it many times. But Jeff Ellison is joining us today. Jeff, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Because I do tell this story a lot. And you know the one I'm talking about. I forget what year it was, and we're going to walk through everything, but I'm telling you what, the lightning story that we have, I would put up against anybody's near-death experience.
Yeah, it was probably one of our most dumbest moments.
I like that you call it dumb, because it is dumb, because there's an easy fix to all this. But I would say that, so is there a moment when you decide, and I'll throw this to you, Jeff, is a hunt worth risking your life?
Today? No.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, yeah.
See? So what?
Back then we did some pretty stupid stuff.
We did. I've got another one that just came to mind, and it was our duck hunting story while we're trying to cross the channel.
I was thinking about that earlier today.
All right, we'll get to that one. So to set the story up, this is rifle season in Oklahoma, and the night before, I think you and I were checking the weather, and it called for like mild showers or something like that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be anything extreme.
But how it turns out is we wake up the next morning and we see kind of lightning off in the distance where we're at, and we feel like in our where we're staying, the cabin really didn't have the greatest cell phone reception. So walk us through your thought process at that moment, because I've got a version and I just want to see if they line up.
All right, at that moment, we thought it was going to pass pretty quick. The radar wasn't showing much. We thought it was going to pass pretty quick. It didn't look too heavy, so we were like, "Yeah, let's just go ahead and try it."
And we're kind of pseudo. We're not guides, okay? We had a buddy in camp, actually professional fisherman, Bradley Roy, and his dad were in camp. And they were just trying to get an Oklahoma deer. And so they were with us. And you're exactly right. Your story lines up exactly how I tell it, because we thought it was moving quickly. So by the time we get out there, what is that? About a 30-minute drive?
Yeah, it was a 30, 40-minute drive to where we thought we can park the truck.
Oh, that's a good point, because the roads where we hunt aren't all, paved and nice, and we can't get into them. So when it rains, like, you're kind of SOL getting back there unless you want to hike. And that's kind of what we did. So we get down there, and the rain, I mean, you can kind of detail this from here, but the rain just kept increasing and increasing.
It was pouring down.
So we knew for certain that we had a bigger chunk road that we could get to. And with I guess we parked in the little oil rig.
Yeah, they were building a rig right there, and they had gravel all the way down to it.
Because they have to, like, it mandates that those trucks have to be able to make it in there, rain, sleet, shine, or sunny days. And so Jeff and I are sitting there, and we're like, man, it's got to let up sometime. And From there, it's all bad decisions. I mean, I think leaving the cabin, honestly, that's where our bad decisions started, because we should have just hit that snooze button and just went back to bed.
Yeah. But we did sit in the truck for 10 or 15 minutes and try to look at the radar, and it did show it slowing down.
Yeah. And I think it's probably very important to point out at this moment that both of us kind of look at each other and go, yeah, let's do it. And neither of us had rain gear. None of us had rain gear. No, I think Bradley and his dad had rain gear, and we were sitting them in a blind, which was, I mean, what would you say is probably about 500 yards from the truck?
Yeah, it was pretty close to 500 from where we parked.
And this is an enclosed little blind. I mean, it's got a few more holes in it now. I don't think I'd sit there now, but so Jeff and I, we decide, and now the lightning's picking up and the thunder's, clapping real hard. And I mean, I'm not talking a little lightning. This is right on top of us lightning, but man, it's the rut.
Yeah. I just remember we started walking down that road. We probably had a mile and a half walk to get to where we wanted to go.
It was, I would say it was 2 miles I would say it was a 2 mile walk, because each section.
Yeah, it was pretty close to 2 miles.
And so no rain gear. We're carting packs and firearms. And that's another thing I didn't even think about. We did not cover our barrels. This is just stuff. We were young kids when this happened. And when you're young, you start to think, yeah, you're pretty invincible. And coming out of this, I think it was this trip that I started to realize that Mother Nature is not to be messed with. You're chuckling, but I know you're thinking the same thing.
Well, I was chuckling at the time too.
So I'm going to start the walk, and you're going to finish the walk. So we start walking down this road, and we're headed east, and we would maybe walk 100 yards, and our boots at this point are filled with water. We're drenched, and we are 100 yards from the truck. And I would turn my head looking down at Jeff, and I would say, "Are we doing this?" And I think, I don't know, maybe you'll tell me something different, but I think it was like that. No, I'm tough. I can do this. Like, we're doing this.
Every time you said that, because like you said, we'd walk probably 100, 200 yards, and we'd stop and be like, man, are we going to go through with this, or do we need to go back to the truck? And it was like, well, we've made it this far. We might as well keep going.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's what blows my mind about this whole thing, is that we kept stopping, and the truck is a mere 300 yards the other way.
Yeah.
But it was seriously, it was every 150 yards, 200 yards. We'd stop and we'd look at each other and go, this is stupid. And you know what? You really probably should listen to your gut at that point, because it's probably right.
I don't know.
Oh, come on. But again, I keep going back to this, but it's the rut in Oklahoma, and anything could happen. And we had a feeling, and this goes back to being dumb. We had a feeling that right after a front moves through, and it was right after a front moves, okay, the deer are going to be on their feet. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to be ready to eat. And we had it lined up. We knew where we were going. We were getting into the right spot. I mean, we were on the X. We were going to be on that X when that storm broke, which we thought was going to be now, hours ago.
Yeah.
But there was a time when the lightning was so bad that it was hitting. Now it was hitting around us, and very close. I mean, within 100 yards. Would you say?
Well, that one was within 100. 100 yards.
And we stopped after that one. We stopped, and that was probably about 3/4 of a mile into our walk. And so we sat there, and I mean, it was so bright that you could see everything. Like it lit it up that much. And then when that light goes away, you can't see anything. Like our eyes were dilated, whatever they do, but I couldn't see anything. And it's still raining hard. And now your 3-pound boot weighs 15 pounds because you got water in it, and that Oklahoma clay dirt down there sticks to your boots. And I think we fell a couple times.
We slipped. Yeah, there was a couple times we were slipping and sliding.
Yeah, and you can't. And we didn't have 4x4s or anything like that, or 4-wheelers. We just couldn't. It was just all footwork, man. It was all footwork to get down these roads. And we tried walking in the ditch, but the ditches were filled with water, and it was running. Man, we're idiots. I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I'm like, yeah, you are so stupid. Not you, Jeff, but me, because I was part of the problem.
Me, because I was probably the one that was like, we made it this far, we might as well just keep going.
That's typically how it goes in this like a symbiotic relationship. I kind of say, hey, are we doing this? And you're like, yep, we made it this far.
No turning back.
Yep. Yeah, and it was, man. I've never been so wet in all my life, and I just didn't think. Now I'm just stressing out over, man, I need to go check that gun, make sure the barrel's clean, because it had to have been filling up with water. As much rain is coming down, I don't know why we didn't cover them.
Yeah, we didn't have anything to cover them.
That's fair, and folks, that's why. So you remember at the voting polls this year, you had to wear this like capped little, like it looked like a really small balloon. Did you use those in Oklahoma?
No.
So at our polling places, they gave us all these little, like, I guess they're kind of like a finger condom is what they are. I mean, that's all they are. And I looked at them, I go, oh my gosh, these would make great barrel covers, to cover the end of your bore. So I was having everybody who hadn't voted yet, I was like, hey, grab me 4 or 5 of those when you go in there. Just take a couple extra so I can have when it rains or anything. If I need to cover a muzzle loader or anything like that at the end of my bore, I got a little barrel condom now.
Yeah, they sell those for muzzle loaders. Yeah.
And just throw a couple in your pack. They don't take up a lot of room, and don't be like us. So anyway, I kind of derailed right there. This Gun Talk Hunt is also sponsored by Pyramyd Air, your #1 resource for everything airgun, offering a wide variety of air gun and airsoft rifles and pistols, pellet guns, ammo, and accessories. Really, they got it all. If you're looking to get into the air gun game, this is your spot. So next time you're out and you're thinking, man, I wish I'd had an air gun, visit pyramydair.com and also enter the code GUNTALKHUNT, all one word, for $10 off any $50 purchase, plus free shipping with any purchase of $150 or more. Find your next hunting partner at pyramydair.com today. But getting back down the road, if we're going to be correct, we're about 1.75 miles in this walk. And I do think it needs to be pointed out that Jeff and I are very much hey, I'm going to get into the stand an hour earlier than I need to be so we can be ready and we can let the woods die down and everything. Well, the woods were very lively that morning with lightning and thunder. Wouldn't you say? I mean, come on.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the worst thunderstorms that we've had, even like during the spring. Like, I've never even ran into a situation like that during like spring turkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was terrible.
It was bad.
It was like a spring storm in November,
which is really weird. A really, really just strange weather system moving. And it's almost like it just stayed right in that area. Like, it didn't It's not like we had a statewide movement. It was localized. So we get down. So we get to our spot, and the sun's not even close to coming up yet. We've still got, I would say, about an hour 15, hour and 20 minutes of this. And we back our backs up. We finally get to our spot where I finally tell us, and like, it gets so bad, like it's getting worse. The lightning's getting like sucking into our location. Like it's like picking up the hairs on the back of my neck.
Well, you already passed the big lightning strike.
Yeah, I thought we kind of...
The one that got really close to us right before we got to the pond dam?
Oh, when we made the north turn.
Yeah, the big one that our ears were ringing and everything. We couldn't see.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, Kevin, I think we're going to die. And you were like, dude, don't say that. We're not going to die.
I got you, I got you, buddy.
I was like, this could be it.
That's right, because there was the one that was within 100 yards, and then there was one a little bit closer than that. And that's
there was a big one that was really, really close.
That's right.
And I mean, because our ears were ringing, we couldn't. It was like we got hit with a freaking flashbang.
Yeah. Oh, I got you, buddy. Don't worry, I got this.
And I was like, Kevin, we're gonna die. You're like, shut up, we're not gonna die.
Well, so and yes, you're right, because we were close enough to that pond dam that we decided, hey, let's get to the backside of that pond dam. And I kid you not, we laid down, we set our guns down, and we laid with our hands on our heads. I mean, if we had gotten struck and they would have found our bodies laying on the ground, they'd have been like, what are these two idiots out here doing?
Well, our whole thought process on that was to get lower than the 7-foot mesquite trees.
Yes. Yes.
We said we got to get lower than the trees.
And all this conversation we are having to yell at each other. From this point on, it's all yelling because the rain's picked up, the lightning's picked up, and now we can't really hear that well. And that's how we ended up riding out the storm. And the storm literally broke about 10 minutes after legal shooting light.
Yeah.
And we sat there with our hands over our heads, laying face down on the backside of a pond.
At that point, though, I think we did cover our guns with our jackets.
Oh, well, I guess we're halfway smart. We trapped the water inside, and
that was only about an hour into the
ordeal excursion. Yeah, and it did. It took us roughly to cover, and this is not steep hill country. This is about as flat as flat as a popcorn fart. I mean, that's about as flat as it is. I mean, it's flat. This isn't climbing up mountains and climbing up hills. We're just two morons walking out in the flat ground in a lightning storm
with guns.
But what happened after that?
Shoot, I think we laid there, and then about 10 minutes after shooting light, like you said, the storm broke. And then we were like, well, I think at that point we were like, where do we go? Do we just want to kind of still hunt back to the truck? Because, I mean, we were already soaking wet.
Oh, yeah.
And we just kind of aborted our first plan and just kind of still hunted kind of back towards the truck.
Yeah. We still hunted our way. We had a better route going back. We didn't take the roads. We kind of still hunted our way back, but that almost ended with us shooting a deer because we were sitting out in the middle of this CRP grass, and here comes all these deer, and they started moving.
There was about 6 or 7 bucks?
Yeah.
That come across.
Yeah. I was like, oh, here we go. Like, this is perfect. Like, man, this will pay off. And I think I was on the gun first, and I got down into shooting position. I got ready, got the shot lined up. No, I'm not going to take him. I should have shot him out of principle.
Well, you didn't shoot him because we were sitting there, we were arguing back and forth on which one was a bigger one. You're like, no, this one's bigger. And I was like, no, I think this one's bigger. And we did that for like a minute or so. And then you were still down there, and I was like, if you're not going to shoot him, just get off the gun.
You did say that. Yep, that's fair.
And you were like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to shoot him. Oh, and then, so we still hunt our way back. The deer were moving. I mean, the deer ended up moving really well. And we came away with a great story. But what's funny, the story does get better, because then we didn't have a dryer.
Didn't have a dryer.
So we didn't have a way to like.
I think we only had like one or two sets of camo between us.
Yeah, I mean,
like a piece.
Yeah, these were like, man, these were like poor college kids just sitting there going like, well, what do we do now? Like, so we like, I think we rustled up like as many quarters as we could find. And I sat in my like long john underwear in the old, the laundromat, in like a one stoplight town. Like, and people would come in and kind of look at me, then they'd turn around and walk out. Like,
we walked in there and we took off all of our clothes.
This sounds really bad.
Put them in the dryer. And I remember, I don't know, I think Bradley went back with me.
Yep.
I don't know, did his dad stay there?
No, huh? Y'all all
Or he rode with me?
All y'all went.
Yeah.
I was watching the clothes.
I was driving back to the cabin in my underwear and boots. And I was like, oh God, if we get pulled over, this cop's going to think some crazy stuff.
3 grown men with guns, underwear, and boots. That sounds like the worst country song ever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's
because I had to drive all the way back to the cabin to get fresh clothes so we could all change, and then I had to bring you clothes back so you can put them on inside the laundromat.
Yeah. And
in small town Oklahoma.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there, honestly, I'm sitting there just going, oh, please don't let anybody walk in on this. Like, this might be the low point of my life. I thought the walk in was bad. This is way worse.
Just standing here in my undies.
Yep.
Trying my clothes.
Oh, that's horrible, man. That's pretty bad. I mean, because you're right. Because, I mean, we didn't really have a lot of camo back then. Like,
I think we always took like a set of warm gear and a set of cold gear. And that was like all we had.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't, that's it. And we left everything back at camp. Like, cause we thought the storm was going to pass. So you didn't take everything. And so what would you say now, looking back on it now, if you could go back and you could shake the sense loose in young Jeff Ellison, what would you say to him on that hunt?
Oh, I would have slept in. I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
Like, I do that now. Like, if it's raining,
yeah, I can wait.
It can wait.
And we've seen like tragedies over the years of guys, and I forget the country singer that actually died on a duck hunt. Man, a couple years ago, but I had just met him like a few months before that, and he died on a lake because it was just brutal storms in a small boat, and it capsized while they were out, and it was an awful tragedy. But I think you're right. Like, you can't, the lessons now, you wish you could tell your younger self, man, a hunt is not, in my opinion right now, not worth it.
But I say that now. I did put out decoys in the lightning this year. I was out in the water.
You learned absolutely zero.
Well, if it would have been closer, I would have got out.
What? How close was it? Was it under 5 miles?
It was over.
Oh, okay. Well,
but it was pretty good lightning. But I figured I was safe out there.
You figured,
and it was the last weekend, so I had.
Oh well, you had to hunt.
I had to do it.
Well, did you kill ducks?
We killed a few.
All right. Well, I guess, I mean, at least you got to shoot your gun. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm not, it's, old, Mother Nature is not one to be trifled with. That's what I took away from it. Like, I took away some like incredible respect for Mother Nature because she packs a punch.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
It's not nothing. I mean, I wouldn't let my kids go out and crap like that. Like, that's ridiculous. But we live and we learn. So, we've got we're going to have Jeff on some more throughout the year and stuff because he's a wealth of knowledge. And I trust him. He's got a piece on scree camo. And we're not going to get really into it right now, but if you're not aware, check out Scree Camo. They do a good job, but he's kind of reviewed it and he kind of have it. And I guess you're kind of liking it.
Yeah. It's a nice set of gear. Man. I mean, wore it one season so far and I like it.
And it's held up.
It's held up pretty good.
Well, good. Well, he wrote a newsletter piece for us, and we're going to be putting that out shortly. I want to see a turkey season with him under it, so that'll be coming out in April. But look for that. But Jeff, I do appreciate you coming on and telling your heroics.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining Gun Talk Hunt, guys. As always, man, don't mess with Mother Nature. And if you plan to, man, just be safe and keep your mind about you.